What's going on, everybody? My name is Austin Prevo, and welcome back to the PV National Podcast. And today we have a very, very, very special guest. His name is Austin Prevo. It's me. Welcome to the show. Today we are going to be talking mostly to homeowners. I know that a lot of the episodes on this podcast have either been a little bit geared towards like other contractors and business owners and everything like that. We just want to bring a little bit of a different flavor today and specifically talk about and talk to North Texas homeowners that have solar on their house. This is going to be a little bit more of an educational, shorter video, but nonetheless, we thought it was really important. We haven't had a major storm here in Dallas yet, and so I want to talk to you guys about solar and major storms that are going to come through and how we would suggest going about that process when you have all the homeowners have all the contractors knocking your doors and everyone's trying to solicit your business. And if you've invested in solar, you need to approach this process just a little bit differently than you normally would if you didn't have solar on your house. And we'll be talking today to people who have taken a loan out for their system. It's a little bit nuanced when it comes to leases and PPAs and VPPs and all the different kind of ways that solar has been sold over the years, but 90% of the market, we're going to see loan contracts where you've taken out a loan, some sort of finance company that you guys chose to service or to finance your solar system. So first and foremost, there's really two scenarios in this kind of deal. One, as a homeowner, unfortunately, it's about a 70% attrition rate on solar companies going out of business within their first 3 years. So if you've had your system for over 5 years, there is a very, very, very high likelihood that you no longer have a warranty holder and you no longer have a service provider to help with manufacturer warranty claims or anything of that nature. So what I want to do today is explain two different scenarios on what you're going to run into, okay? As a homeowner, you're either going to have a company that's in business and that is about 30% of the time, or you're going to have a company that is out of business. And I'm going to talk about both scenarios and the right questions and things that you need to be asking your roofing contractors whenever they're either knocking on your doors. And then I'm going to give a little bit of a different suggestion that I think is a little bit contrary to how roofers would like me to talk, but I really do believe in it, okay? So first, let's talk about if your company is out of business, okay? Right now, if your company is out of business that installed your solar panels, you no longer have a labor and workmanship warranty tied to your installation. So if you don't have a workmanship and labor warranty, what that means is that roof penetrations, aesthetics, any power production issues that come from labor, you have no one to call. And then really that's obviously not great, right? But the big thing here is that you also have a manufacturer warranty that's mutually exclusive from the labor warranty. So you've got a labor warranty and you've got a manufacturer. One doesn't affect the other in this scenario. Right now, you still have a manufacturer warranty, but you don't have anyone to liaise on that process. You don't have anyone that you can call that can help you with manufacturer warranty claims, get the product in, get it installed, get the system back up and running. That is typically what would be the responsibility of the original installation company to do for you. So let's say in a hail market, a storm rolls through, roofers are knocking your doors left and right, trying to get you to sign a contract or a contingency agreement, all those different things that happen when you're in a storm affected area. There are a few major questions that you need to be asking your roofing company. I'm just going to give you the raw, honest truth here. We partner with about 50 roofing companies in Dallas-Fort Worth and all over the state of Texas. And then there are a couple other good companies here in Dallas-Fort Worth as far as a detach and reset perspective goes that probably partner with around the same, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But there's only really a handful of really good solar detach and reset contractors local to Dallas-Fort Worth that are licensed, that are insured properly, that have W-2 installers, that have good systems processes, accountability, good reviews, social media, like all the things that you would, kind of qualify as just a good business in general. So maybe about 200 to 300 roofing contractors in Dallas-Fort Worth have a really good detach and reset solution. The other 9,700 don't. There is a massive, massive delta from really good, sophisticated solar detach and reset contractors to the $100 to $125 panel guys. And if you're not vetting out your roofing contractors to find out if they're using some of the top level detach and reset guys that are going to maintain warranties, they're going to do all that good stuff for you. That's what I'm here to educate you on today. Okay. First, if a roofing contractor comes and knocks on your door, and a lot of the times, if you've bought a solar system, you've taken out a loan on that solar system, then you've spent, the average loan amount in Texas is a little over $47,000. I think it's like 48 grand is the average loan amount of what people took out to buy solar. So when roofers are coming and knocking on your door, and if you're in like a normal 3-2 house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 30 panels up on your house, you spent about 2 to 3 times more money retail on that solar system than the roof that the roofer's about to put on. So in my perspective is, okay, if I've invested, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 into a solar system, I want to make sure that my roofing contractor or my general contractor that I'm hiring to restore my property, and on that solar detach and reset line item on the insurance, that it's actually being taken with care and with responsibility. So there's a few main things that you've got to ask your roofing contractors is this. One, is the detach and reset company that you intend to use to take off my panels and put them back on, what is their warranty? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it limited lifetime? What is the warranty that's going to come with once they touch my system, take it off, put it back on? What does that look like for me as the homeowner? And if you cannot get that in writing from the detach and reset company, do not run away from that roofer. That means they don't have the right people in place. If someone came and provide a simple warranty, that's a really easy way to determine whether or not you should do business with a roofing contractor who's claiming he can handle the solar portion of your insurance claim. 2, do they have a Texas electrical contracting license? It's called a TECL, where in Texas, you cannot advertise or perform electrical work without having a Texas electrical contracting license. And this is easily verifiable through what's called TDLR. You can just Google this, TDLR license lookup. If you do that, then all you have to do is type in the company name in which the roofing company is providing you for who's going to handle the solar, and it'll pop up right there whether or not they have license information. If they do, is it current, is it active, or is it expired? All that good stuff. So warranty number 1, can you get it in writing with the solar company's letterhead, with their license information, and then what kind of insurance does the solar company have that the roofing company is advocating do your solar detach and reset? Do they actually have workers' comp? Do they have general liability? You need to check the insurance on the solar crew or the solar company. Because in the state of Texas, if you do not have a Texas electrical contracting license, you cannot be insured. No one's going to underwrite a policy for you as a solar contractor advertising electrical work without a license. So on these insurance policies, on the GL and the workers' comp, there's going to be classification codes on those policies. And if those classification codes are not tied to the actual work that is being performed, you as a homeowner get held with a ton of liability, and so does the contractor itself. So it's really, really important that you're asking those 3 main questions. If you no longer have a service provider and you are out of a warranty because your original installation company went out of business, that's really more of like, okay, the nitty gritty details of what are like the absolute bare minimum requirements that your roofer needs to provide to you on a solar company that they're wanting to use underneath them as a GC to perform your detach and reset. The second thing is, when you're vetting out your solar contractor along with your roofing contractor, look at their Google page. Do they even have a Google page? Do they have a website that explains who they are? Do they have a social media presence? Do they have any sort of authority in the space? And you could easily go look that up, and you'll know whether or not a solar company has good social media, bad social media, whether or not you think they're kind of a ragtag operation, or they invest in their image and they invest in making sure that they look like they're a professional brand, all that good stuff. Look at their social media pages, look at their YouTube, look at their LinkedIn, look at their Facebook, look at everything you can to show and to see, if they have their license information, if they have their insurance, and if they've got a good warranty. check their social media, check their Google page, check everything you can about them, see what kind of longevity they've had in the business. That's a really big thing, right? Like us at PV National, this May will be 6 years in business. And we've already stood the test of time of kind of how many people actually stay in the solar industry and are growing, right? So make sure you're kind of crossing those T's and dotting those I's, okay? So I hope that is like a pretty clear explanation. If you are an orphaned homeowner, now, that is if contractors are knocking your door and you're not being proactive necessarily on the solar portion of kind of your property. A big thing that I will say though is that if you have spent that that $40,000 to $50,000 on average on a solar system, if I were you and in your shoes and spent that much money on that, I would want to make sure that I am vetting out the solar contractor, not necessarily trusting what the roofer is bringing to the table, obviously, unless they're bringing PV National to the table, right? But the whole idea here is for you guys to be able to get some education on, guys, homeowners, vet the solar contractor. And if you find a good solar contractor and you've done all the research, tell the homeowner, hey, the solar detach and reset, I'm going to handle direct with whoever I choose to do the solar detach and reset. And you are going to be the one that's going to perform all the other work, but I'm going to handle the solar. Or if you want to make an introduction to the roofing company, a lot of times roofing companies and solar detach and reset companies can work well together if they have the intention of serving you as the homeowner, right? If a roofing contractor is only looking out for his numbers, only looking out for their profit, only looking out for that kind of stuff, then you'll know pretty quickly whether or not, the kind of people that you're going to work with. If you say, hey, look, I have vetted out, this is a solar company that I want to use, and feel free to get in contact with them. This is who I want to perform all the construction on my property when it comes to solar. So homeowners, I encourage you to do that. But like I said, if you don't want to do that, I completely understand. It might be a little bit easier to go through the roofer. But I also think it's wildly beneficial to go and find your own solar contractor using all the specifications that I was just talking about. And that's for homeowners who no longer have a service provider, right? Now, here's where it gets tricky as homeowners, where you really have to think about, and I'm going to explain a few things here to you just really quickly so that you guys can understand the kind of the dynamic on what an actual solar warranty is. And how even if you do have a service provider currently and you've got a company that's not out of business, a lot of the times what they're going to do in a hail and storm market environment is they're going to use what's called warranty scare tactics against you. Let's just say, for example, you are proactive as a homeowner. You get a big giant storm. You're like, okay, well, I know I got solar panels on my house. They've got to come off so the roof can be done and put back on. I need to go ahead and call my solar company and see what that process looks like. 10 times out of 10, what your solar company is going to do is say, hey, yeah, this is what we could do the job for. And just so that you know, if you use anybody else on the solar detach and reset, all of your warranties will be voided all your solar warranties will be voided. So there is a little bit of that's really misleading. And I'll tell you why. Like I said earlier, on a solar warranty, if you actually took out a loan and you bought the system and it's yours and you own it and you didn't lease it or anything like that, you have a solar warranty comes in two parts, right? You have your labor and workmanship warranty and you have your manufacturer warranty. Those two things are mutually exclusive. One does not affect the other, okay? It only affects the other if you're using unqualified personnel, and I'll get into that in just a second, okay? So if you've got a manufacturer warranty over here, that's typically boilerplate is about 25 years. On the labor side, from original installation date, if your company's still in business, it's about a 10-year labor warranty, and that's boilerplate. It varies from 5, 10, 15, 20 to 25 years on labor. Very rarely do we actually see written contracts from the original installation company at 25 years, but it does happen, okay? So if you make that call to your original installation company and they're talking, hey, all your warranties are going to be voided, just know this, okay? If a roofing contractor knocks on your door and they're presenting to you a company, let's just say it's like PV National, for example, they're like, hey, even I know you've got a current service provider, I know your company's still in business, but this is who we use for our detach and resets. They've got a Texas electrical contracting license, they're insured properly, here's all their social media pages, here's their limited lifetime warranty, blah, 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 blah. The only thing that happens in a detach and reset if you use another company, if you own and took out a loan for your system, is that the original labor warranty goes away and then it gets replaced with PB National's limited lifetime warranty. And because PB National has a Texas electrical contracting license, we are properly certified and trained, we've got all the proper insurances, we are able to maintain that 25-year manufacturer warranty for you and handle and liaison any manufacturer warranty claims moving forward. And you might say, okay, well, hey, you were just saying keep it separate from your original installation company or keep it separate from your solar company and your general contractor. That's a lot more if you don't have a service provider, because you really can't trust the roofing company necessarily unless they're providing you with all the correct information that you need to see to know that your manufacturer warranties won't be voided and you're going to get a good replacement warranty if you have a system that is still being serviced and maintained by somebody else, okay? And here is the main reason as to why that at the 30% of people who do have an original installation company still, here's the issue with this, is that your original installation company, let's say a roofing company is saying, hey, we want PB National to do this detach and reset. I know you still have a service provider. I know your company's still in business. And let me explain to you why it is so important that your roofing contractor and your solar contractor know, like, and trust each other, okay? And I've seen this story hundreds of times over the last 6 years, where I hear all kinds of horror stories from roofing contractors and homeowners alike. Man, and a lot of these times, these contractors aren't educated enough to explain the warranty difference, how it gets replaced, how that most likely with the right companies you'll actually be better protected moving forward. But here's why it's important, okay? Why it is important that your roofing contractor and your solar contractor know, like, and trust each other. If you just choose to use your original installation company, I can promise you this: they only care about their detach and reset money and moving on. They don't have any relationship with your roofing contractor. And so that poses a lot of problems if there are issues that arise. I use this example all the time. In the summer in Texas, and most installs in Texas now are going to some sort of impact-resistant shingle. It's a superior shingle that is rated for bigger hail impact so that you guys can get insurance, reduced premiums, a lot of different really good benefits from having impact-resistant shingles. Let's say a roofing company upgrades you to an impact-resistant shingle, and the solar panels came off, they put the new roof on, it was looking great, you guys are super excited about the new roof that's going on, and then your original installation company goes out on your brand new shingle at 2:00 in the afternoon in July and is walking up and putting panels on your brand new roof. Typically, I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on this. The roofers you're seeing this, I could be wrong, but a lot of shingle manufacturers now, it's a polymer rubber blend, and then you get the granules on top of it, or then it's fiberglass and it's granules that get on top of it. And so on a brand new fresh install in the summer, these shingles are really malleable. They don't just like set really, really quickly and just get really hardened, right? The polymer blend and the rubber blend and the asphalt that they have to put the fiberglass on, and eventually the granules that go on top of them is really, really malleable, especially in the heat of the summer. So if your original installation crew is not there at basically when the sun comes up and only working on your roof to a certain time before the temperatures get hot enough to make the roof really malleable and the ability to get really marred up and cut up and chewed up, if there are leaks that happen that come from that, the original installer does not rely on your roofing contractor for any business. So, for example, that is why like a company like PB National is why it's so important that when a homeowner is being explained this, when you guys are being explained this, if there ever are problems that arise, PB National's interest is directly aligned to serving you as the homeowner to the highest degree, because I have XYZ roofing company who I would like to continue to do business with. If I come out at 2:00 and ruin your shingle, if I don't communicate properly, if I don't show up when I say we're going to show up, then it ruins my relationship with that roofing contractor, and I won't get the call to do any more of their detach and reset work. And that's the dynamic in which you want to have on a project that has solar. You do not want the dynamic necessarily of an original installation company dealing with a roofing company they don't know, like, and trust. Because who gets left in the middle? You as a homeowner do. You get left in the middle trying to play telephone between the roofing contractor, the solar contractor, who caused the leak, who's gonna pay for it, all that good stuff. And so it's just really, really important that you vet properly. And if you have a roofing contractor that's bringing a really, really good solar detach and reset company to the table, do not be scared about warranty scare tactics from your original installation company. I promise you the better move is to have the roofing company and the solar contractor on the same page serving you, the homeowner, versus having a party who's not really involved in the whole situation. They originally installed your panels, and that's about it. And one thing that I really want to also kind of put out there is, like I said, on the original installation company, the boilerplate labor warranty is about 10 years. So let's say you got that system installed 5 years ago, and that means you've got 5 years left remaining on your labor warranty with the original installation company. The original installation companies are going to keep original date of installation as far as the length of your warranty goes. So 9 times out of 10, they are not going to issue you a new 10-year workmanship and labor warranty from the date of the reinstall. They're going to retroactively, use the original installation date against your time frame. So if you got it installed 5 years ago, even though they came and did a detach and reset, they're still going to only have 5 years remaining. And a lot of companies will replace that warranty from date of reinstallation. We offer a limited lifetime warranty. I know really great companies offer 10 and 15-year warranties. So if you're going with the company that came with the roofing company, you're going with the solar contractor that came with the roofing company, 9 times out of 10, you're actually getting a warranty extension on your system. So, that's really the important part of why you need to know what to ask and what to look out for, why it's important that if you don't have a company to really do some of your vetting process on your own, don't trust the roofing contractor necessarily. And then if you do have a service provider and a roofing company comes to you with a great solar detach and reset company, I promise you that is the better direction to go than bring a third party company into the mix on where the roofing company and the solar installer don't know anything about each other. There's scheduling issues. There's all different kinds of things. And then obviously, if there is a labor warranty claim, you guys get caught in the middle. Solar contractors pointing finger at roofer, roofers pointing finger at solar contractor. I've seen it over and over and over again. So I know this is a really quick episode. I hope that, brought some things to light. I hope I explained that well. But really at the end of the day, what PV National is here to do is help in every single homeowner that is invested in a solar as we possibly can. That's through whether you contact us directly or, if a roofer's knocking on your door and you've looked at our page and you see what we got going on, then, please let them know who we are. Let them know that's who you'd like to use. And we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of roofing contractors over the year. We know how this scheduling goes. We know what they need. We know the documentation that they need. We can pretty confidently work with dang near any roofer out there. So I hope this was helpful today. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was a little bit of a short episode, but I think it was really important going into storm season. Feel free to reach out to our office or our social media pages at any time if you have any questions, concerns, or anything more that you'd like to know. I appreciate you guys' time. We'll see you next time.